Alright, welcome back to another beautiful day on the water. A little bit bouncy, but the swell is pretty low in Sydney today, so I think it should be a good day out. So we're going to do a bit of a challenge today, a Christen the Jig challenge. We've got a bit of a collection of jigs at home, and almost half of those jigs have never caught a fish before. So we're going to try and see how many fish we can catch on different jigs. Some of these jigs are new and some of them I've had for a little while now. The first one to stand the challenge is this little guy here, which is a El Cheapo variety, meaning I bought it online for about $3, and it's a little 20-gram jig. So we'll have a bit of a cast around with that to begin with. Probably most likely to catch bonito on that. And as we say that, I can see some birds just hitting the surface over there, which is a sign of fish activity. Heaps of fishermen on the rocks today. Anyway, let's paddle around, see if we can find something on the sounder and have a cast. All right, looks to be some fish down the bottom there. Let's get jig number one down and see if we can catch something on this guy. Yeah, you see that little arc of fish right there. Definitely some signs of fish activity down there. It's a 20-gram jig, so it'll take a little bit of time to get down to the bottom there. Ideally you want something a bit heavier. Right, let's give this guy a go. So I'm going to use each jig for about 10 minutes. See how we go. Worst comes to worst, I might have to go to my faithful jigs, but be good to catch some fish on something different. Alright, so no luck with jig number one so far. Just gonna have a few more casts. We've been using him for the past maybe 15 minutes. Not much on the sounder, so you don't know whether it's because of lack of fish activity or because they're just not liking this jig. Oh, there we go. As we say that, we get onto a fish. Oh yeah. Probably a bonito. Fighting like a bonito. Come up. Come around here. Whew, not a bad sized bonito either. He's alright. Oh, knocked my GoPro over here. Well, there we go, hey? Just as we were about to give up on this jig, we managed to get a bonito on him. There we have it. A nice little bonito on that jig. So again, that jig is a cheap jig that I bought online for about, I think it was literally like about $3 or $4, so there we go. Right, so that bonito has been put on ice and this jig has been christened. So that's one jig we've never caught a fish on before. That's caught a fish today. The next jig to rise to the challenge is another little 20-gram jig. This jig is actually quite an expensive jig, but we're gonna keep to the small lures while I know there's bonito around. So we'll see if we can catch another one of those. There we go. We are on with jig number 2. This fish doesn't feel very big though. What have we got here? Okay, little snapper. It's gonna lift this guy in. Well, there you go. A nice little snapper on jig number 2. Snapper's too small to keep, obviously. Great to get a fish on jig number 2. Let's get this guy back in the water. There he goes. Now we're going to crack out my other rod, and this time we've got another El Cheapo lure here. This guy's an 80-gram lure that I put some assist hooks on. Nice and long profile, so it'll move through the water column really quickly. So really it's for targeting kingfish and things. It's probably a bit early on in the season for kingfish, but Bonito would still hit this, so let's see how we go. We're not really having a lot of luck with this long profile jig at the moment, so we're just going to have a few more drops with him and then perhaps move on to a different variety. Okay, so we're going to use this jig now. Bending the rules a little bit because I have caught Bonito on this guy, but I just want to have a few more casts to see if we can get another Bonito before we head in. But we have christened 2 jigs, which is great. There we go. Is he on? He hit it hard, but then he stopped fighting. Oh, it's a pike. That's interesting. I've never caught one of these here before. So these are really good bait, but we're not going to use them as bait today. Oh, they're quite a smelly fish. Settle down, buddy. Interesting to catch one of those guys. I can smell them from here. See you, mate. Alright, so we're going to head back in now. A bit of a shorter session today. We got to catch fish on 2 jigs that we'd never caught a fish on before, so that was pretty cool. We've got a nice Bonito for the smoker. I might make another video of me smoking the Bonito for you later in the week. But yeah, good to get a few fish on the board, and we'll see you next time.